Hello everyone, welcome back to Catherine's Plates. You know, where it's always simple, easy, and delicious in my kitchen. It's dinner time and I'm getting ready to make French onion Salisbury steak. Now this is a variation of a very classic, comforting dinner dish. Now I've pulled this recipe off of my blog and that's where you can find it. So the first thing we're going to do is start getting our onions ready, because those take just a few minutes to be able to get them nice and soft and lightly browned. Alright, well let's go ahead and get started. Okay, now I'm back here on my stove. What I'm going to do is put a burner onto medium-high heat. We're going to be using one large skillet. And I've got 6 tablespoons of some butter that we're going to start melting. Now Salisbury steak is so delicious. Now I've got a pot of potatoes back here going because we're going to make homemade mashed potatoes. Now that's my husband's specialty in making those. Okay, we're going to get this butter nice and melted and sizzling, and then we're going to come right back. I'm taking 2 medium yellow onions, and all I did was cut off the ends, take the peel off, and then I kind of tried to slice them still in the rounds. You can half the onion and then slice them that way too. The thinner you make them, the better for this dish here, because then you won't sit here trying to cook them for a long period of time. All right, we're going to go ahead now and add this to our melted butter. To this, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of beef broth. And we're going to add 1 tablespoon of some Worcestershire. Now, if you don't like Worcestershire, you don't have to add it. It's just another little flavor that we're going to add. Okay, we're going to cook these down for about 6 to 8 minutes until the onions are nice and softened, and they'll be just a little bit browned also. So while this is happening, we're going to stir this every so often, but we're going to go over there and start putting our meat patties together. I've got a large bowl here and about 1.5 pounds of ground chuck. So we're going to go ahead now, we're going to add 1 egg, 1/2 cup of panko crumbs or breadcrumbs. I like the panko crumbs. They're just a Japanese style of breadcrumb, but they're very light and crispy. I've got 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire. Now if you don't like Worcestershire, you don't have to put it in. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm just going to put in about 1/4 teaspoon of some salt. We've got salt content going in already with some cheese, so I'm not going to put too much in. And about 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper. And you can adjust these seasonings to your liking. And then I've got 1/2 cup of some Parmesan cheese that's been grated here. Okay, we're going to mix this all together. Now, before I mix this together, I'm just going to go over there and check my onions really quick. If you feel like you need to add more liquid to your onions, you can add a little bit more beef broth. All right, let's go ahead and mix up our meat mixture here. Okay, now you don't want to overmix this, just as long as everything is incorporated. What I'm going to do is just kind of put this together so we can divide this into patties. Now if you want 4 large patties or 6 medium, it's up to you what you want to do. Alright, I got a plate right here, just a paper plate. Alright, I'm just going to divide this probably into 4. Alright, so I'm just going to form the ball and then just kind of flatten them out. You know, these are also known as like chopped steak and hamburger steaks. I like to call them Salisbury steaks because I grew up with Salisbury steaks. The TV dinners were my favorite as a child.
Oh, you talking about the Hungry Man?
Yeah. We would get TV dinners when I was a child, and that would be one of my favorites. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to form the rest of them. Okay, these onions look delicious. They're nicely browned and very softened. So what we're going to do is pull these out of the pan for a little bit. I'm just going to put them in a bowl and then set those aside. Leave your burner on. Okay, we're going to take our hamburger patties here. We're going to fry them lightly on both sides, about 4 minutes on each side. All we're looking to do really is just give these a nice sear. Now if you want to add a little bit more oil or some butter to your pan, you can do that. I'm going to pull out the meat patties. I'm going to add the onions back in. Add 1/3 cup of flour. Now this is just an all-purpose flour, whatever you have. It's going to serve as a thickener. I'm going to mix this in with the onions and the butter and cook this down for 1 minute. Now anytime you add flour to something and you cook it down, you want to do it for 1 minute. It cooks that raw flour taste out. I'm going to add in 2 cups of beef broth. Now this is better than bouillon that I mixed up with some water. That's a really delicious flavor. I've got 1 can of French onion soup. Now this is 10 ounces. Now you can see the onions coming out of there. I'm going to sprinkle in just a little bit of some Italian seasoning, not much. There we go. Definitely going to add some pepper. We're going to stir this up. I'm going to bring this to a high heat so that this can come to a boil. Like always, grab yourself a spoon and then try this. That way you know if you need to add any salt at this time. Now I've put some soups in there and the better than bouillon, so and that's really good. I'm not going to add any salt to this. Okay, I'm going to place the meat patties back in. Just kind of submerge them in that sauce there. We're going to lower the heat down to a simmer, which will be like a medium-low. Got some white cheese here. Now you can use any cheese. If you want to use Swiss cheese or some mozzarella cheese, sliced cheese. I'm just going to put about a 1/4 cup, or you can put 1 slice onto each hamburger patty here. You know, this is the French onion part of this too. We're going to place a lid on and we're going to cook this until the cheese has melted, the sauce is nice and thick, and that meat is cooked through. About 6 to 8 minutes. Look at that gravy right there. All those onions. The meat patty right here with that cheese. Oh yeah, it's on a plate with some homemade mashed potatoes that my husband put together. Okay, got my fork right here. Oh, it's so tender. Look at that bite right there. All right, let me try it for you. Cheese, pull, and all. It is so tender. Those meat patties, they're so tender, full of flavor. Oh my gosh. That onion gravy, it's very mellow, very delicious. All right, give me a thumbs up on this one, you guys. French onion Salisbury steak. Who's making this one? Don't forget to comment down below, and if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. Also, don't forget to share this recipe with family and friends. It's such a delicious one. Okay, guys, I will see you on my next episode. Cheese pool and everything.